Hello, Joerg Altekruse. Um, you are documentary filmmaker and the founder of youth4planet, an organization that supports the voice of the young people in regards to sustainability topics, or equality, mainly touching the topics of the 17 global goals by the UN, the SDGs. And yes, please present yourself quickly and tell me, what is youth4planet actually about and why do you do it?
Well, my name is Joerg Altekruse. I'm a long-time filmmaker, actually. When I started my career in the early 80s, I started earlier than that. Um, Film was still something that is a privilege because you needed a camera, you needed equipment. This was television, at least, or you had to have big studios. So we are jumping now from that situation to today. Today you need your mobile phone, you hold it in your hand, you don't need tripods or anything. You can edit on your phone, you have all the facilities built in. That's perfect. Why? Because when you have something complex as climate change, as a challenge, a so-called poly crisis, something that is coming from every direction, using film to actually somehow describe this complexity is the best instrument that you can have. So when I did a big series on climate change 10 years ago, Tipping Points of Climate, with my Australian colleague Liz Courtney, we decided this is not enough. This is television, more than 100 countries, but not enough. Why? Because the real challenge did not get across, and if, let's say, people of my age watch this program, they don't do anything. No, they just say, "Oh, let's earn our pension and get on." They are not inclined to change their habits. So you need young people to actually come into concrete action and change things. And for young people, nothing is set in stone because they are reinventing their world from new. And this is our big chance, that the young people are driving the change that we need in terms of the climate system, the way we produce energy, the way we move, the way we live in cities, just in order to survive, because we are overusing the planet for the time being, for the moment, by about 2 to 3 times, depending. Some cultures even overuse it more than that, 10 times more. And so this is a challenge to really keep our luxury societies within the planetary boundaries. That's a real challenge, and we need to do that. And just an example, young people have developed the idea, oh yes, you can live without meat, no, no animal products. And suddenly it turns out, yes, this is the right way to do it, because you need so much less resources in terms of water, in terms of space, for food. This can all be used for feeding people, and it's more healthy. So it's already there. Young people already developed these ideas, and youth4planet is basically an invention or a device to structure these ideas, make films about them, help young people how to make a film about a topic of their heart. Let's say living as a vegetarian or a vegan, could be a topic, and then you make a film about it in order to talk about this to your peers and maybe convince them or do something about it. So that's the basic idea of Youth for Planet, making things happen, empower young people to tell their story, to find their story, and to actually bring it out into the public and into reality.
So you have at Youth for Planet, you have like these two parts. One big part of Youth for Planet is doing workshops long term with young people at schools and institutions. And the other part is that you go to climate conferences. You've been to COP 2026 in Glasgow. You went there with the Creative Velos, the special cargo bikes with solar panels on it, and with a built-in monitor where you actually showed films in the public on the way to Glasgow. You can find the link in the description. There's a page about that. We don't talk about this in depth right now. But what I would like to know, you are planning what you are planning for the next COP, the COP28.
Well, as a climate journalist or as a filmmaker, I see that now the urgency is piling up. Things are coming closer, and now we actually see what we knew from the scientists 10, 20, 30 years ago. Now we see it and feel it in reality. So there's more urgency to it, and the public can know more about it. So young people are actually sort of getting frustrated. That's very simply put. Yeah? I think it's even more than that. Some call it depression. Because they have the feeling we cannot do anything. We are way too small to do anything. And as a motivator and filmmaker, I know, no, everybody can do something. And when you do it together, you can make something big. So it's the same. I always like the story of a little bird that is trying to actually stop the fire in a burning forest by picking up a little piece of water, a drop of water, and put it above the heat and let it fall. Of course, this doesn't really stop the fire, but when the bird was asked, well, why do you do this? This is completely nonsense what you're doing. Then the bird said, well, this is what I can do. Of course, you as the elephant or you as the pelican, you can carry more water. But I'm doing what I'm able to do. And so the story ends by the other animals, and we humans are animals as well, understanding the message, oh, I do my bit. And suddenly, when everybody really comes together and does something, then they were able to stop the fire because there was joint action. And the same is happening with the cops. You have this feeling, oh, this is very, very much too big for us to handle. But no, it is in many, many small steps. It comes in many small steps, and the challenge can be handled if we understand what is to be done. And the climate action dialogue is something that we've created in Luxembourg. in order to allow young people to understand what needs to be done and then take the first step of action in their school together with their friends and say, okay, I have understood and now I have an idea of how to take a step further. How this works. So imagine you are a teacher in your school and you have the climate conference happening, and you can actually invite your students every day to come together and think for half an hour about the very best idea to how to take the next step. Huh? So how do you do that? You have a room, empty room, you bring people together, they write down the most daring idea, let's say to save water. And one is writing down, okay, we get rid of all water toilets and we only have dry toilets in our country. We make it happen, we can have the money to do that, we invest into this, and in 2 or 3 years, we only have dry toilets in our country, in Luxembourg, for example, or in Germany. Okay, that's a dream, of course. It's a large dream, but then think of visualizing this. It's a daring concept, but it's doable if many people really took part. If it's making sense, that's a different discussion. So actually, I think putting this out as an idea is one step. Second step is make a film about it. Make a short film with your friends, visualizing how do you do that. Let's say you replace an ordinary toilet by a dry toilet, or you visit a company that does produce these toilets. Okay. And then you have a film that can visualize your idea to other people. And that's basically the idea. We collect these ideas from the schools, put it into some kind of editorial system. Then we have young people that actually go to COP as reporters, and these reporters will then ask these questions. How do you manage to change in your country all the water toilets into dry toilets? And you ask this the Minister of Health in South Africa, for example. And then he says, oh, we already have 50% dry toilets. Maybe. Huh? Or you talk to the health minister of the US or of China. All these people will be coming there. So this is the chance to ask the most interesting questions to the most interesting and influential people.
And it will be published also on the youth4planet blog and social media, of course.
Well, actually, we will publish it as a broadcast online on YouTube, Twitch, and other channels, so that every school can actually take part. In every country, they can become just partners of our project. They subscribe to the channel and then they are on. And every day they can watch the program, half an hour. They can discuss it in their school. They develop new ideas, a new topic. Maybe not the next day. The water is not the topic is not water, but maybe education. And then the question they put out is, how do we install the best education system in order to become resilient against climate change? Okay, that's another big question. But then we will ask these questions the next day to the appropriate people, the delegates there, put it into our broadcast, and then again, and sometimes we will actually broadcast those films that people have made in order to showcase the question, no? Make it more visible and the idea. So basically, we are creating a circle of communication, ideas, and questions, curation. Then the people at COP, the young people asking the questions, then the broadcast, and this is going back into the schools. So that's it. Very easy, but not so easy to install, of course. But we have partners and we get support from UN, from the presidency of COP. And so I'm quite positive about making it happen. And we can do it small and start small, like the bird actually in the forest. And then people will join in. They say, oh, this makes sense. We want to be part of it. Okay, then it will become bigger.
Great. And what do you wish to see as an outcome, or what should be the impact on of the climate action dialogue for each and every person, for the big context? What is your vision regarding that?
Well, actually, first step is bring young people to the table. Make sure that young people and their questions, their concerns are heard and are made visible. So when we ask these questions to, let's say, the president of the US, of course we will not do that, but just imagine that. Then he will know about the questions as well, the concerns of his young people. And this is as important as to hear his explanation. First thing, so make them visible, make young people's voices visible and audible at COP. Second thing is create mini COPs in schools, so that not the COP is important, but to make sure that young people understand we are important. So what we learn is important for the future of the planet as well as our future. No? We learn how to make films. Then this is really making the connection to the higher level.
Yeah, and so that I was just talking to Semyon Smolensky, who's doing a Luxembourg tour right now with the set Creative Velos that you took to Glasgow. And he actually said that for him, he's a young guy, just finished the school and now works for youth4planet for a year at least, and after that we will see. But and he said the important thing for him is that all the people who share the interest like he does in these topics, that they are kind of alone and they are not connected. And that through these projects with the Luxembourg tour or the COP climate action dialogue, that these young people feel that they are not alone and that they are connected with each other, right?
Yeah. Now, this is really very important, actually. When you are an activist, when you are seeing things that your neighbor doesn't care about, then you really feel alone. Like the bird in my example, he might have felt alone, but he knew that the others were there. It was only that he had this idea, okay, how do I manage to get the others following me? And we know from psychology, and I'm a psychologist myself, so in part, we know that if a few, 5-6% of people, 5 or 6 out of 100, start taking a certain type of action. Eventually, it takes time. Eventually, 90% of the other people will follow, because we are herd animals, actually, like horses. We just follow the flow, we follow the gang, the team. And this is important to know. We can change our habits, and then we follow those people who are leading, who give an example. So it's basically the idea of the influencer. That's why influencers are so influential. They are taking the lead and say, okay, I'm trying this. I take a trip to the highest mountain, and I'm showing you how this trip went. And then you say, oh, this is great. I want to do that myself. So you are a follower, and you get inspiration from these people. And yes, this is a small start of making things happen and visible. But if you don't start, you will not get anywhere.
Great. So that's a good last sentence for this interview. Thank you very much, Joerg Altekruse, and good luck with the preparations for the COP28. And if you want to participate or make a donation, you can find the link in the description or at youth4planet.com. There is a donation button. You can also subscribe to the newsletter and follow everything that's happened. It's going to be very interesting. So yeah, keep up, and see you next time.